Hello and welcome back to our last history lesson this term. And we're going to finish off the Anglo-Saxon period. And we're going to look at an important piece of artwork that depicts the end of Harold Godwinson's reign and the start of William the Conqueror's. So we're going to have a look at the Bayeux Tapestry. And we're going to try, if we can, to recreate one of the scenes in the same sort of style as the Bayeux Tapestry. Not as a tapestry, but as a drawing. But let's have a look. So, the Bayou Tapestry is nearly 70 metres long and about 50 centimetres high. It's not exactly. It's embroidered cloth, which is what a tapestry is, and it shows the events leading up to the Battle of Hastings. And it actually starts, or close to the start, of when Edward the Confessor died. And it shows the invasion of William, Duke of Normandy. It was actually William, Duke of Normandy that commissioned it as well. So the tapestry is annotated in Latin, and you can see the Latin writing around here. And currently is being exhibited in a special museum in Bayeux called the Museum de la Tapisserie de Bayeux, which means the Museum of the Tapestry in Bayeux. And it's in Normandy, so northern France. The tapestry is regarded as one of the greatest examples of Anglo-Saxon art. And this is because although William the Conqueror, in order to show off his victory and has a record of his victory, he commissioned it, he ordered it to be made, but it was actually made by Anglo-Saxon craftsmen and women, mainly women. And so it depicted this journey. And this is really impressive because it's a piece of artwork, but it's also a historical record. It shows a good idea of what happened. Now, what you have to remember is that it might not be accurate in every single fact that it gives, but the general idea of what happened over that period of time will give us a good representation of that. So, at the start of the tapestry, we can see King Edward on the throne prior to his death, so before his death. And what you can actually see here is Edward Rex. Now, Rex means king, so this is King Edward here sitting on his throne. And that gives us a starting point, and you can actually see the detail that goes in with the border and the detail inside. And you can quite easily see how it's been made and the style in which it's been made. Now, the borders of the tapestry, which we saw before, often contain scenes of animals, agriculture, and countryside images, which is really interesting. And this was just decoration. This was something the Anglo-Saxons did to a lot of their things. There is also part of the border that looks like this. And what's really interesting about this is some historians believe that it might be Halley's Comet. And Halley's Comet passes the Earth every 75 years, so it would have been seen around this sort of time. And it's a good idea. I'm not sure what else it could be. Maybe you might have some ideas as to what you think it might be. And this is one of the things that we have to bear in mind whenever we are looking at artwork to depict history or historical records. We have to remember that it is done at the time and can be interpreted in lots of different ways. And that's quite important. It's one of the things you have to remember whenever you're looking at sources in history, is the fact that any historical source you look at or reference that you look at has to be interpreted in some way by the reader. And this means that some of the information might not be exactly accurate to what actually happened in history, but might give a good idea at least. So here we have another scene, and here this is the coronation or the crowning of Harold Godwinson after the death of Edward. And you can see here Harold, his name here, and Rex again in the same sentence, meaning King Harold. And here you can see him sitting on the throne. He has the scepter, an orb, and the crown, which denotes him as the king. And he also has a religious individual, who would have been the person that signed him, set him up, coronated him. When word reached William of Harold taking the throne, William ordered straight away the construction of ships in order to carry his army across to England. And we have here a depiction of that. The ships there waiting to be used. But before that, if you look, we have ships being made. And it's interesting that they think that this was an important part of the Bayeux Tapestry, that it was actually the preparation and the knowledge that they were going to invade as soon as he was given the throne. This is a scene from the Battle of Hastings. And you can see here you've got warriors fighting on horseback and warriors fighting on foot with a shield wall going on here. And you've also got lots of dead people, even quite gruesome images, even though it is in the style of the Bayou Tapestry. And here is what's believed to be Harold's last moments, Harold's death. And this looks to show Harold being pierced by an arrow through the eye. Now, historians believe that this might not be the case. They suspect he's not actually died this way. We have to remember how busy and confusing and chaotic a battle it is. And also the fact that, well, none of the artists that did this actually were there. So they've only got what they were told to work on. And this always is a problem with historical records. Unless it's written firsthand by somebody who was there, it is only ever what they understand of what happened. So although it seems to depict that, and we can tell that by saying Harold Rex at the top up here, we can't be sure. So it's a massive piece of work, the Bayou Tapestry, and it contains hundreds of individual animals, characters, including 626 characters, so people, 174 horses and 55 dogs, a lot of those either in the main or the tapestry around the outside edge. It also has 37 ships, 49 trees, and 37 buildings. It included so many things. And I think the thing about the Bayou Tapestry is that it's quite impressive in the scope that it was in. Nothing really has been made to the same scope as this for a while. Okay, so your task today. Your task is to imagine that the Baio Tapestry was drawn rather than embroidered onto a material. And you are going to create a part of the Baio Tapestry yourself. You're going to choose an event from the time and draw a scene in the style of the Baio Tapestry. Now, there's a few images that we've got over here that you can kind of use as an idea of what you might want to draw, how to draw the people, shields, weapons, horses, and think about how you would put them together. It is quite stylized, so you can obviously follow that sort of style, trying to keep it as similar as you can. If you want to look at a really nicely animated version of the Bayou Tapestry, which would be quite nice to do before you depicted a scene and drew it, you can have a look at the link that's in the description below. It was created by the Potion Project, so it's quite a nice little moving idea of the Bayou Tapestry. So we come to the end of Anglo-Saxons, having gone from the moment they crossed over and invaded England and settled after the Romans left, through the raiding and settling of the Vikings and the battles between the Vikings and the Mercians and the Wessexmen king and Alfred the Great and what he did. We've come all the way through to Harold Godwinson and the final fool, and William the Conqueror taking the throne. I've hoped you enjoyed our journey through time, and I will see you next time for more history. Goodbye.